really makes it feel the heaviness of the word. You may be seated. So today is about the gift of baptism. And when we come up for communion today, if you choose to remember your baptism, please dip and make the sign of the cross, thanking God the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. My grandmother wasn't raised in the church. My parents weren't raised in the church, and I wasn't raised in the church. And I was very close to my grandmother, and she called me all the time, almost every day. And when she called me, she'd say, "Hi, Shell, what are you doing?" And one day she called and said, "Hi, Shell, I've been attending a neighborhood church, and I'm considering baptism." And she was so excited. And I was so excited. I still get goosebumps thinking of the phone call that she called me. And she started to describe what her baptism was going to look like. It was going to be on a Sunday, and it was going to be at Palo Lake. It was in the summertime. And her whole congregation that she was attending, their members, and anyone else who wanted to be baptized was going to join her on the beach at Palo Lake. And she invited us. She invited me and my husband and my 2 4-year-old children. I can't imagine a better invitation than to be able to see your grandmother be baptized at the water's edge. And so the day arrived, and we got to the beach, and my grandmother was standing in the middle of the sand, and she had her long, like capri type, pedal pusher type shorts on, and then she had a t-shirt that had Florida across her chest, because she had retired in Florida for some years and was back. And she had a radiant smile. She was so excited to be clothed with Christ through the baptismal waters. I was surprised by the number of people that were on the beach. I thought with a small congregation, it's a neighborhood congregation, that, there'd be a few people there, some families and a few people to be baptized. The entire beach was filled with people. There were people standing in the water at the water's edge, and they were all the way back into the grasses. I was amazed to see this many people gathered together to celebrate baptism at the water's edge. So my grandmother, she was led out into about hip depth water, and she went out there with the pastor, and I couldn't hear anything that was being said out there. We'll say it was microphone issues, because that's what I always have. She probably didn't have a microphone on. But as she was being immersed in the water, when she was raised up, I am reminded of the text today on how the heavens broke open and the Holy Spirit descended. The Holy Spirit descended upon all those who were being baptized. It was an amazing event to witness. I think the sheer number of people and just the excitement and all the smiling and the hugging and the coming to Christ as a community in a lake was unlike any experience I'd ever had. And it's got me thinking about that. In Iowa, we only have a few months that we might be able to have a baptism outside, and that's only if the person chose to do it that way. This font means a lot to me, and it's not. Doing it at the lake wouldn't overtake this. It's just too important. But maybe doing it at the lake would start showing us other things. If we start going to places for baptism like 90% of the world does, what would we see there? What would we see at the water's edge? Would the water be clean enough for us to get in and be baptized? I don't know. What would it be like if all of First Lutheran, all 2,000 members, met for baptism at the river? Mind you, I don't think that's clean enough either. But could you imagine the whole congregation walking to the water's edge for baptism? To say, I will be with this person that's being baptized. I will walk with them on this journey. That would be really amazing. And it could happen by a creek. It could happen at Lake McBride, at Palo Lake. We could go all over places to do that outside if we wanted. I don't think it's just romantic. I think God's talking to us. We get outside and we start looking around and we see what shape our watersheds are in. I don't have to wonder what God is saying to me. He's saying, clean that mess up. What are you doing? This is my water. This is my life. I've given this for you. This is a promise. What are you doing? I'd like to think I'd clean it up. And that you would too. And we do that because of what Jesus did for us, that we live in this promise. Luther lived in his baptism every single day. He said he lived in this promise. And what this promise did was motivate him to live among Christ. My grandmother was 77 years old when she was baptized. You are never too old, too young. There is no time other than the time that you want to get baptized. There are no requirements, no regulations. You are welcome to come to this font at any time. So today, when you come up, if you would like to remember your baptism, you can dip in either bowl or in this one. If you are feeling a call by the Holy Spirit to be baptized, let one of us know. We can get that going for you. I know that not everybody was raised in the church, and not everybody has had the opportunities to be baptized at a younger age. Please call. Join in this gift. Amen.